On the homestead where the gardens grow.
Welcome back to Clark Family Life. Today I've got my grandson staying for the evening and he's requested spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. So I'm going out to the garden to get some oregano and some spring onions, and I'm going to use some of my homegrown beef and any of the ingredients that I can possibly use out of the garden or that we've grown ourselves on the farm.
I walked out early in the morning, bare feet on the summer ground, oregano in the sunshine, spring onions growing round. Everything is calling.
Today's dinner was requested by my grandson Cohen. He asked for spaghetti and meatballs, and honestly, when your grandson asks for spaghetti and meatballs, you make spaghetti and meatballs. So I asked ChatGPT to help me create a recipe using what I already had: homegrown beef, garlic, oregano from the garden, spring onions, and my frozen tomato puree. There's something calming about washing produce you've grown yourself. It's grounding, and if I'm honest, I've needed grounding lately. The end of summer is beautiful, but it's also overwhelming. Everything ripens at once. And while I love being busy, I do find this season challenging. Walking through my garden this morning, and this is my second crop of corn. It's still a couple of weeks away from being ready, but it's coming along beautifully. As I walk through the garden this morning, I'm just incredibly grateful for everything that I have here. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and our small regional town is struggling at the moment because we have fuel shortages. And as I watch people buying fuel, filling up, I can see that people are worried about the future. And I feel really grateful that although I'm worried, I definitely have enough food stored away in my pantry, in my freezer, and in my garden. I always think there's something really special about walking out into the garden first thing. The air feels different, softer somehow, and this time of year, everything is ready all at once. My time isn't just taken up in the garden, it's running our family business, filming for YouTube, looking after my home, my family, being present for my husband, and looking after myself also. Today I've also picked corn. I love canning, but right now I just don't have the time. Instead, I trim the ends, peel back some of the husk, leaving a little on, and place them straight into Ziploc bags for the freezer. I did it this way last year and it worked perfectly. I always save all the leftovers from the corn or anything that I'm preserving to take out to our cows at my son's farm. Here's all the corn that I've preserved. I take all the outside husks off just to make sure that it's really nice and clean, pop it in Ziploc bags, and it preserves really well. My vegetable garden, the meat we've stored in the freezer, it all gives me a real sense of security. We don't have everything figured out, but we've taken small steps over the years to live more simply. Harvest season is abundance, but it's responsibility too, because if you don't pick it, it's wasted, and I really don't like to waste anything. Preserving food isn't about perfection. It's about doing what you can in the season you're in.
Pick me now, don't wait. The garden doesn't
Homegrown beef,
it shouts
garlic that I picked last season and froze, chopped oregano, spring onions, salt and pepper, simple, honest food. When I'm standing at the stove, I often think about balance. I love this life. It's so full. But loving everything doesn't mean it's always easy.
But the real harvest is in jars upon a shelf. It's spaghetti on the table, and not forgetting myself.
Spring onions from my garden, and honestly, you can taste the difference. It's sharp and sweet and alive, and it reminds me why I keep doing this. While I was out in the garden, I found these long sprigs of oregano hiding underneath the eggplant. They'd grown tall and a little leggy, reaching out, trying to find some sunlight beneath the big leaves. I was really grateful to find them. The new oregano I planted this season hasn't grown very big yet, so discovering these old plants still tucked away felt like a gift. I love using fresh oregano. It has such a beautiful flavour, earthy and strong, and when you chop it up and add it to a dish, it just brings everything to life. It's one of those herbs that reminds me why I grow my own food. Something so small, but it makes such a difference. There are days when I feel behind, days when I think, how am I going to get it all done? And then I remind myself, this is a privilege. To have a garden overflowing, to have grandchildren requesting dinner, to have work that keeps us secure.
Some seasons are for planting, some for storing gold, some are just for holding close the hands that we can hold. So I'll give myself.
So now I'm just adding in the garlic, in with the beef mince, along with fresh oregano and spring onions from the garden. I also decided once I started mixing that I needed to add in some extra breadcrumbs. So in total I put in half a cup to 1/4 cups and mixed it through. I love the feeling of having your hands in the mince and bringing it all together so that you can make beautiful little meatballs. There was also 1 egg in the mixture, which my son gave me from his farm. Simple ingredients coming together to make something really comforting. After that, the meatballs go into a hot pan and cook until they're nicely brown. One thing I'm learning on our urban homestead is that balance doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. Some weeks I have time to preserve foods beautifully and fill shelves with jars. Other weeks, like right now, I'm simply freezing things quickly so nothing goes to waste. Homesteading works best when it fits around your life, not the other way round. The garden is meant to support our family, not exhaust us. Sometimes balance just means doing what you can do and leaving the rest for tomorrow.
All at once it'll last. But the real harvest is in jars upon a shelf. It's spaghetti on the table, and not forgetting myself. It's corn
For the sauce, I'm keeping things really simple. I'm starting with the tomato puree that I made from last year's tomatoes and froze when they were coming in thick and fast. To that I'm adding a little garlic, some fresh oregano from the garden, and a few chopped spring onions. The herbs give the sauce such a beautiful freshness. Then I just let everything simmer gently while the meatballs finish cooking. It's a very simple sauce, but when the ingredients are fresh and homegrown, it really doesn't need much else.
With herbs still wet with dew, homegrown beef and garlic,
Some seasons are planting seasons, some are preserving seasons, some are simplifying seasons. Right now, I think I'm in a simplifying season, doing things in a way that keeps everything moving without burning myself out. I don't want to be so busy preserving food that I don't have time to sit and eat it with the people I love. That's the real harvest. I'm still figuring out how to balance it all, but I'm learning to give myself grace, to choose freezer bags over canning jars when I need to. Busy doesn't mean blessed, but being present does. If you're in a busy harvest season too, just do what fits your life right now. That's enough. I always add a sprinkle of cinnamon to my spaghetti sauce. My mum always did this, and I've always followed her tradition when it comes to making spaghetti sauce because hers was always amazing. I'm also adding in salt and pepper for flavour, and I always put 2 tablespoons of sugar in just to sweeten the tomato. It makes such an amazing dish and just adds to that flavour, enhances it so well. The frozen tomato slowly thaws with the spring onion and garlic and all the other spices and ingredients, and then it slowly starts to thicken and bubble into this beautiful, rich tomato sauce. I pour it over top of the meatballs so that the flavour from the meat and the juices are retained in the pan and the tomato absorbs them with all the flavours and they all combine together to make an amazing dish. Made with love and requested by my grandson for dinner. Before I started making the recipe, I asked ChatGPT for instructions, and I just wanted to show you how easy it is to do. I like to build meals around the things I already have in my garden and freezer. So today I typed a prompt explaining that my grandson was staying and had requested spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. I told ChatGPT I had minced beef, frozen tomato, spring onions, oregano, and I also had some eggs from my son's garden and asked it to create spaghetti and meatball recipe with those ingredients.
Little bits of yesterday held things up her feet. Corn silk blowing in the sunshine, harvest in my hands, trying hard to keep up with all these growing plans. Life is happening right here in this kitchen, so slowly simmering on the stove. Grandkids laughing down the hallway, the kind of riches gardens grow. It's not about perfection or keeping up somehow. It's about the love we're serving right here, right now.
Today I want to show you something that has honestly become one of my favourite little kitchen helpers, and that's using ChatGPT to create recipes. I've got so much produce in the garden and lots of meat in the freezer. Instead of scrolling endlessly through recipe websites, I simply open ChatGPT and ask it. So today I asked a very simple prompt: delicious spaghetti and meatballs Italian style. Within seconds, ChatGPT created this full recipe for me. You can see here it's given me everything I need: the ingredients for the meatballs, the tomato sauce, and the step-by-step method. What I love about this is you can make it even more specific. For example, you could say, create a spaghetti and meatballs recipe using beef mince, garlic, and tinned tomatoes. Or you could ask, create a healthy version, or even create a low-carb version. It's like having a recipe assistant sitting in the kitchen with you. And if you like the recipe, you can even ask ChatGPT to turn it into a printable recipe card or a PDF to save. And I find it's a really easy way to cook from what you already have at home, waste less food, and try new meals without spending hours searching online. If you haven't tried using ChatGPT like this yet, give it a go. Just type in what ingredients you have and see what it creates. Using ChatGPT has honestly become one of my favourite little kitchen helpers. Here on my little urban homestead, I look at what I have in the freezer and in the garden, and I try to make a recipe out of it. I ask ChatGPT by inputting everything that I've got and saying, I'd like to make a recipe. I could give it the name, or sometimes I just say, these are the ingredients that I have. So today I typed a very simple prompt: delicious spaghetti and meatballs Italian style. I told it what ingredients I had in my garden and in my freezer. You can see here it's given me everything I need: the ingredients for the meatballs, the tomato sauce, and the step-by-step method. What I love about this is you can make it even more specific. For example, you could say, create a spaghetti and meatball recipe using beef mince, garlic, and tinned tomato. Or you could ask, create a healthy version, or even create a low-carb version. It's like having a recipe assistant sitting in the kitchen with you. And if you like the recipe, you can even ask ChatGPT to turn it into a printable recipe card or a PDF to save. I find it's a really easy way to cook from what you already have at home, waste less food, and try new meals without spending hours searching online. If you haven't tried using ChatGPT like this yet, give it a go.